Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, buckle up cause bitch, we talking insecure. Well guys, so as we know, Insecure season 4 episode 3 came out a couple of days ago, and wow, was it juicy. It was juicy, guys, and I am here for it, right? I am here for it. I'm excited about it. I'm ready for this season. It's been well overdue. Let's get into it. So it starts off with Lawrence. Of course, Lawrence, right? And of course, he left us all with a nasty taste in our mouth last season, right? Right? But he comes back all nice and strong and shit this season. He got his shit together this season. And it starts off with him talking in the mirror. He's trying to perfect his speech that he about to give for the interview and shit like that. He getting ready and shit. And then all of a sudden, what do we hear? We hear a interruption from a little bit up on the side, right? Who is it on the side? Nobody other than his girlfriend, his new side piece, right? His new chick, his new main piece, right? Because ISSA, he broke up with ISSA last season, right? Because she cheated on him. So he got her in the bed. They talking, right? And in the bed, they start discussing about Thanksgiving. You know, he starts off by inviting her, to want to go out and do something for Thanksgiving. And she like politely declines and says, oh, by the way, I can't because I'm kind of hosting a Friendsgiving at my place. And he's like, oh, well, should I come? And awkwardly, she's like, sure. I didn't think you would want to come. And all of a sudden, you would think after that he would give a response. But like a nigga does when he has his mouth full and he doesn't really want to respond and he's in that moment, what does he do? He goes in for the kiss. He doesn't say anything in response to that. Instead, he goes in for the kiss. Then, as soon as you know it, boom, the alarm goes off again, right? The alarm goes off, and then it's time to start the show. Now, I can give you guys the timeline and shit and run it down verbatim, but all of us have watched that shit. All of us tuned in and watched that shit. I'm giving you guys my review. I'm giving you guys my take on the show, and honestly, I'm quite impressed about the relationships. It kind of zoomed in on all of the different type of relationships. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to start off talking about that today. So we'll start off by talking about Lawrence and Condola. Now, from what I've noticed, Lawrence and Condola are like newlywed, like not like newlyweds, but like newly dating, and everything in their relationship should be nice and peachy and shit. But there's something not right about the relationship. There's something just not quite right about the relationship. It seems like for him, he's trying to replace ISSA, right? It seems like he's trying to do everything that he wanted to do for ISSA, how he wanted to be for her, but with Condola, right? So in their little relationship, things are nice and fresh and new. Things seem to be moving kind of fast. I think that Lawrence likes her a little bit more than she is into him. We saw in the episode that she mentioned that she had was recently divorced. I don't remember any other episodes that she mentioned being married. I don't know. Maybe you guys can comment in the comment section about that. But she mentioned she was newly divorced, and she wasn't interested and remarrying, or being serious on that level anymore. He, on the other hand, is getting his shit together. He went from being a fuck boy. He went from being, this dump down nigga, excuse my French, but dump down nigga, laying up on the couch, not motivated. He wasn't driven. He just didn't have any drive when he was dating ISSA, right? We saw that episode after episode, last few seasons before, that this dude just didn't have that go. He didn't have that go-to, spirit about him to want to get his ass up and be a man and do something in his relationship. So he was real stagnant in that relationship. He was real just stale and how do they call it? Just stagnant, right? Don't nobody like that kind of a man. Don't no woman like that kind of a man. So he's trying to be everything that he wasn't in that relationship with ISSA, and be better with Condola. So we see that throughout, this episode, and I think that we're gonna see more of that throughout the season. My opinion, I really don't like, I'm gonna keep it real. I don't see it prospering. I don't see his relationship with Condola prospering, because honestly, I don't think it's 100% over between him and ISSA. But we'll get to that later down the line. We'll get to that down and later in this discussion. But right now, let's talk about the restaurant scene. Now, Laurence runs into ISSA in the restaurant, right? She's sitting there looking like this. She got her shit on. Whoever is dressing her up during this episode, during this season, I should say, whoever is dressing her up during the season got they damn Jetson Fashion Week thing going on, because the clothes that she got on is some shit we ain't ever seen. Okay, she got a half tuxedo dress on, she got her shoulder out, she in her neck, she got all kind of shit going on. She got the hair banging, she rocking, of course, always rocking natural styles, but she got some shit with that's kind of on the weird side to me. She got that middle braid with, a little bit of gold going through it. I wasn't really feeling that, but the outfit was banging. So he walks in the restaurant, sees her sitting there, and he's like, "Hey, ISSA." Instantly, these two connect, right? Instantly, nothing has changed between the two of them. They have this dynamic. Of course, they were together for 5 years, so they have this dynamic between them that's just unbreakable. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who has dated someone, as long as they've dated, how it is. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you have a somewhat good relationship, there will be times where you'll have sparks. You know what I'm saying? And things will just kind of roll back into the routine of, you're joking and all that kind of things. And that's kind of what happened with them. They started talking about movies. They started having a little punchlines, and up walks Condola. Condola walks up, and it's like the elephant in the room, right? It's like the odd man in, the fifth wheel, the third wheel, however you want to call it. It's like, oh shit, something is really not right here, real awkward and shit, right? So she walks up, and they're just kind of like, yeah, we were just talking about movies, and shit like that. And it was real awkward. So ISSA felt the tension, and she was just like, "Oh, sorry, I was just, I'm in your spot, I was just getting ready to get my food to leave." And all of a sudden, boom, they bust her ass out with her order being, for to dine in and shit like that. I would have been like, look, had that been me, I would have been staying up in there, okay? They was not about to have me leaving. I was not about to be leaving. Look, I was sitting there comfortably on my laptop doing me, and that's where I'm going to stay. If they want to continue to dine in there, they can do that, but I am not leaving. That's how I would have handled that, because I'm on some petty type shit. I would have been sitting right there like, you know what I'm saying? Looking over there, looking at them, looking at me looking at them. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have moved anywhere. So whatever. ISSA got up and left the restaurant, and that's when we see the one time in the show that she shows she still has feelings for him. She showed it in her face expression when she looked back and she saw them hugging and kissing. She saw that man that she fell in love with, that she was grooming to be, you know, this wonderful person, the person that she saw all of this, you know what I'm saying, potential in, and he was hugging another woman, and she showed it all in her expression that, damn, that should have been me. That should have been me right there, but it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? So that was that, guys. Let's move on. Let's talk about Marley and ISSA's relationship. Now, something funny is going on. You know, we've seen in the past how they've kind of been there for each other, but at the same time, they kind of throw those little underline punches at each other. You know what I'm saying? You know, they kind of had them little low daggers at each other. But in this season and in this episode, shit got kind of weird between the two of them. You know, shit got kind of strange in between those two, and you can see where the division between the two of them is. And, you know, they've been kind of avoiding talking to each other. Things keep popping up, so they don't have an opportunity to discuss what the issue is between them. But obviously they got issues between each other, and, you know, they throw these low blows with each other, they're capping on each other. And basically Marley asked ISSA, hey, I was thinking about, you know, inviting her boyfriend Andrew to Thanksgiving to meet her family. And ISSA throws a fucking low blow, like, bow. She throws a low blow at her and was like, oh, wow, I don't think that that's such a good idea. Shit, you might show him the old Marley. She makes this face like, you know, but you can see she kind of contemplated, you know what I'm saying, and we all see, you know, in the episode that it really fucked with her, you know what I'm saying, it really messed her head up a little bit, you know what I'm saying, because she didn't invite him. And when she was talking to her family members, she was talking to her mom, and then she's like, yeah, well, ISSA didn't really think that it would be a good idea. So she shows, you know, in this episode that she really you know, takes the advice of ISSA. You know what I'm saying? What ISSA says to her really fucking resonates, and it really, you know, plays a big major role in how she feels about herself and how she reacts to the shit that ISSA says to her, because it's always been this tit for tat between the two of them. But Molly's always kind of been this fucking stuck up, you know, girl and shit like that, with the nice job and all of that stuff. And ISSA has always been the one that was kind of ghetto, struggling and shit, you know what I'm saying, going from job to job, never really like had the money. And Molly's always been the one like throwing the money down, you know what I'm saying, having a nice place, having her shit together, but not. You know what I'm saying? But in relationship wise, they had that shit in common. You know what I'm saying? They can come together as girls and talk about the shit they didn't have they had in common, which was, you know, having all these fuck niggas, you know, going out and throwing it back for all these dudes, you know what I'm saying? And that's what they have in common, was she was broken up with Lawrence, and she was fucking hand over fist throwing that pee back, you know, getting that ding-a-ling. And then Molly, you know, she doing the same thing. She throwing her shit back. She going from dude to dude. She doing married men and all kind of shit. But they got some shit they need to talk about, right? They got some shit they need to talk about, right? So I'm hoping down the line, we will see that. But my fucking honest opinion, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think, guys, that we are gonna start to see down the line that these two are gonna start going separate. These two are gonna start to separate. I don't know. Maybe Kelly will pop up in the mix somewhere and be closer to one of the two of them. But for them, I don't see it, guys. I see them two separating, still remaining, cordial with each other, but not being as tight as they was, because Issa's real quick to throw that shit in there in her face about, you really ain't all that. You know what I'm saying? You really don't got your shit together like you think you do, and vice versa. So, that's that, guys. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But let's move on. I loved seeing ISSA and her brother have this bond, this season and in this episode, with each other. I like that they depended on each other. They're talking with each other. And Amal gives her some really great advice, when it comes to, I want to call him Clarence, Lawrence. And, they go out to dinner. They decide, fuck the family shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be doing this twin shit. Let's try to get to know these other siblings. Let's go do us. Let's go do the brother-sister Thanksgiving. So they decide to go to this Mexican food restaurant, and they sit down and they have this heart-to-heart conversation with each other. And she tells him how she sees Lawrence in the girlfriend at the restaurant. And he says, okay, and as a concerned brother, he starts to question her. He's like, well, how do you feel about that? How does that make you feel? And she starts to be real with him. She starts to be, if you guys hear that shit in the background, they would be wanting to pick up some fucking trash while I'm trying to do my damn video. But anyways, that's just how shit happens when you're doing videos, right? But anyways, to get back to the storyline. He begins to ask her things about this, how she felt about it, and she started telling him, hey, I feel fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I feel fucked up about it. Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real. Why we being real? Why we talking? Why we having this heart-to-heart, brother and sister? Let me tell you how I really feel. I feel fucked up about it. I don't like the fact that she's getting the fucking Lawrence that I should have got. I don't like the fact that I spent all these years fucking building up a nigga like a Build-A-Bear. And I built him up just so she can reap the benefits of him. Right? How many people know what I'm talking about? So yeah, we definitely know what that's about. You know what I'm saying? She's just really going through it because she's just like, man, I had the dude that had potential, could have been, should have been, would have been type dude, and basically she's reaping all the benefits. So yeah, some of us can relate to that shit. And her brother, basically told her, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? You have a right to feel the way you want to feel. She tried to apologize for like, oh, I'm sorry, talking too much. He was like, no. You have a right to feel the way you want to feel that way. And she would not have got that shit from ISSA. From Marley. She wouldn't have got that from Marley. Marley would have just been like, no, she would have gave her that old sad song, old sad love song. But her brother, on the other hand, was, you know what I'm saying? Fuck that nigga, he said, right? Fuck that nigga. Let's move on. So, let's talk about Marley and her daddy issues. I think it's quite strange that she's so bothered by her mother and father having issues way back when, years and years and years ago, when her dad cheated on her mother. You know what I'm saying? Some things kids, just need to allow their parents to just deal with. You know what I mean? And you have to just fucking understand. It's not for you, you know what I'm saying, to hinder what they decided to work on. You know what I'm saying? They decided to work on their relationship, work through their shit, and keep it pushing. That shit happened way back when. And when Marley found out the real, you know what I'm saying, she found out the tea on what really happened, it really is bothering her. It really is screwing with her. It's fucking with her head. And I truly believe that because of her daddy issues is the reason why she's having issues with these men. Seriously, let's think about that. I really do think that because she can't dissolve her fucking issues with her daddy, that's the reason why her issues with these men are not good. That's the reason why she's always undecisive when it comes to dealing with these men. And some of these men have been good men, but she just fucks it up. You know what I'm saying? She's quick to give the punani up, for one. You know what I'm saying? She don't hold back on that shit. She throws it back quick. You know what I'm saying? Andrew seems to be a good dude. He's not bad looking. Yes, he might not be black, but she seems to be embarrassed to bring her around her family, bring him around her family. You know what I'm saying? She's apprehensive about pursuing him, and he seems to be a good dude. But I really do believe that it's because of her daddy issues is the reason why she's out dealing with married men. Let's be real. Let's be realistic about that, right? She's out there fucking on married men, and we all know that shit is a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster. So yeah, I think that has a lot to do with her issues that she has going on. She needs to really get over her daddy issues before she tries to pursue anything else, because she's always going to be sour about her friends' relationships and the men that they deal with. And she's always going to be sour in the relationships that she continues to be with throughout this season. So yeah, Marley needs to get her shit together. She needs to get her shit together. But I do love how her brother, who is to her seems to be somewhat of a good male figure in her life, because, you know what I'm saying, she takes the advice from him, and he tells her basically, you know what, you need to get over it. You need to get over something that had nothing to do with you. It had everything to do with mom. It had nothing to do with you, and they chose to work through it. So you need to get over it, because, people fuck up. People fuck up, and you need to just get past it. Let bygones be bygones. And she's just like, okay. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens with this, but let's move on. So let's talk about Lawrence and Condola. Now, I just think it's kind of funny how, towards the end, shit seems to unravel, right? At the end of their little Friendsgiving, they're in the kitchen and they're talking, and shit hit the fan real fast, right? He got to asking her questions because this chick right here, Nikki just blew shit all out of proportion with her drunk ass, right? Shit, that wine got to talking. And basically, she pretty much told him that you're just a fuckboy. You came at a right time in her life to help her get over her husband, right? Her ex-husband. And shit, we all know, right? They say the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else, right? And what more than this nigga who did it well throughout all the seasons, took what drunk ass Nikki said for face value, right? And so here we go with these two, him and Condola, in the kitchen together, and they're having this conversation, they're having this heart to heart, and she basically tells him like, wait, I really didn't invite you to the party, you kind of invited yourself. And so basically he was like, oh wow, well, Nikki must have been telling the truth, Nikki must have been speaking facts and shit. So she's like, well, what do you mean? And he told her, he said, well, basically she said that I was just your fuckboy, I was just helping you get through your process of healing with your ex-husband and shit. And he's like, are you still getting over your ex-husband? And she fucking she flashes at that nigga like, whoa, wait, how did we get on the subject of me and my ex-husband? How do we get on that subject, right? He shows his insecurities right there. All his insecurities comes up right there because he's really fucking feeling her, and she's just taking shit, day by day, but he's really feeling her, and he's trying to fucking speed the process up and shit. And this was like a slap in his damn face real quick with drunk Nikki, giving it to him raw. So basically he's like, shit, we here. Why we here? Let's take the cat out the bag. You know what I'm saying? Let's approach the elephant, the elephant in the room. Are you still, dealing with your ex? Are you still getting over your ex? And she blows up on his ass when she had every right to, you know what I'm saying? Because she didn't give him any reason to doubt her. You know what I'm saying? Doubt her loyalty to him. You know what I'm saying? She's been there for him, and she's never said anything throughout the season to give him that idea, you know what I'm saying, that she's getting over her ex and shit. And so, she says basically back to him like, you're the one to talk. You're the one to talk. You and your ex. I should be worried about you and your ex. You guys are the one that's kikiing and shit, laughing and stuff, got jokes and shit. Y'all talking about shit y'all got in common. You know what I'm saying? Y'all talking about movies and shit. Y'all running the same circle of friends and shit. I should be worried about you. Right? That's what he says, right? So, so then the big question comes out, right? She's just like, well, how should that make me feel? And he's like, well, I broke up with her. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, yeah, but you broke up with her because she cheated. He's like, yeah, I broke up with her because she cheated. And she's like, well, if she had not have cheated, would you still be together? And his motherfucking ass couldn't even answer the question, right? He was like, well, I broke up with her. And she was like, yes, but had she not cheated, would you have broken up with her? And his ass froze. He froze like this. Skinny ass Lawrence was frozen as hell, right? Thick ass Lawrence would have been stuttering like a motherfucker. Thick ass Lawrence would have had all kind of excuses and shit like he was giving ISSA. But skinny ass Lawrence was like, motherfucker had cat tie, caught his tongue. He didn't know what to say. So we start to sum up the show, and we get back to Marley and her dad, and they're all cozy on the couch. She brings him the pie that she gets in the store when she was with ISSA. You know what I'm saying? And everything seems great and wonderful. Then it goes to the end of the show where now Laurence is sitting there and he's reflecting on the day. He's watching TV. He's in his apartment. You know what I'm saying? The nigga couldn't get an apartment back in the last episodes, but he got his shit together. He's in his apartment. He's looking at his cell phone and he's scrolling through shit, I don't know, Instagram, Facebook, one of them goddamn sites. He flashing through it, and he's seeing all his friends' videos and shit of their Thanksgiving Day, and he gets to the Mexican restaurant scene. he sees Issa's brother Amal, you know, jiving on there. Then all of a sudden the camera turns and it's like Issa, and she's like this. You know, she doing her and shit. And what does he do? He fucking gives it the fucking heart. You know, the emojis, you know, the laughing emoji and shit. And then all of a sudden you see on the bottom those 3 dots come across where she's getting ready to respond back to him. Oh shit. Oh shit. What's about to happen now? Right? Oh shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like these two can never get enough of each other. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why I say I don't see them ending this shit anytime soon. I see his relationship with Condola, you know, going down a drain. You know what I'm saying? Issa, she fucking security guards and, you know, TSA guards and shit. She always got a nigga underneath her or over her or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? She ain't never gonna have anybody, you know, set a main nigga in her corner because Laurence is always going to be there. They've got this magical fucking bond that both of them just like can't get over each other. His face, just like her face, when she looked back at him at the restaurant and she had that face, she showed that face that she was still in love with him. There's still a piece of him in her heart. And when he was looking at that phone and he saw her in the video and he, you know, responded with the emojis and she was getting ready to respond back, he had that face, that smile, that, yeah, she still has a piece of his heart, and that's gonna fuck Condola up in a major way. So you guys tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let's talk about this shit because it's about to go down, just like it's about to go down in the comment section. You guys like and subscribe this video, and I hope to see you guys next week for the next episode.